good morning, everybody. And it is definitely a pleasure to be back here this Saturday with you. And of course, this is a part two, all right? And this is the first time we've been doing a part two. And I'm really happy that a lot of people said that they really wanted our guest back. I guess Mrs. Knight DJ, you had a great impression on our guests. So welcome back. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. You know, usual when you hear my voice, it's time for some elevation and education and enlightenment. And of course, your host, Leandra Lander. Really, really nice to have you on. Jump on our Facebook page, or you are probably listening on one of our frequencies, 88.7, 93.1, 107.9. Very pleasant Saturday to you. We hope you had a good week. And whatever good, I know they'll say good is relative, but if you made it out, it's been a good week. Yeah, it's probably hard, but guess what? You can only go up from here, right? So we're going to take a word from our absolutely amazing sponsors. We want to, soak in every minute of the show, all right? So much more information that you can and will benefit from, all right, if you take the right precautions, yes? So, of course, tell somebody, share this live and let them know that Elevate is on as usual right here on Kyrie FM. All right, so stay tuned. We're going to take a word from our sponsors.
Malcolm Stephen and Sons across the bridge is the headquarters, guaranteed for all your frozen meats, poultry, ham, turkey, fish in fridge every day, every week, from Monday morning to Saturday afternoon. Malcolm Stevens is the people's first choice for the ever-fresh quantity, with the widest variety and assortment of all your fresh favorite frozen foods from across the Caribbean and across the world. Guaranteed freshness. Pat mouton, pat cabouit, madi lapo cabouit. All the frozen chicken parts you could ever need. Legs, breast, breast, chest, thighs, feet, gizzards. Malcolm Stevens' back and neck is not back and neck, is neck and back. Dominica alone gets the freshest and the best from Malcolm Stevens' Sons. Swinging sassins for their drumsticks there, and first serving it. Your beans, your peas, your salted and pickled meats, tout pat cochon. When you want a broth and a soup, you need to come to Malcolm Stevens and Sons. Nobody makes a better pillau or broth or soup than a Dominican. But the secret is that they buy all their tastiest, nutritious, and satisfying frozen foods only at Malcolm Stevens and Sons in Portersville. Tell them I sent you. 448-8709 or 235-5521.
Maze Moltinal écoutez do it center avec idio. I find the skin of my house has a disease called pentapes, has to do with paint. You might what are the symptoms? Here the symptom, well, it's as if somebody guaffiate and the glossary has departed from it. You have come to the right place and the right brand. Do it best quality paints. There are two types. The Master Touch for interior and exterior, Laupa Besoin Pièce Primer, and the Color Solution. With both of them, you can mix and match. Souvlon couleur to match anything in your house, even your soap dish. Just bring it in. Do it best quality paints. The primer for all services. Floor paint, pour la cour, your garage, wall paint, ceiling paint, and for your steps, pour moun pak chichile, as to bobonyo, les step la mouille. Plus every paint accessory you can think of. Just lay shell. Do it best quality paint kote. Do it center as to Goodwill Road. Multinadi, I call it the paint laboratory.
Pure crisp refreshment. Caribe Hard Cider. Yours to enjoy. With a delicate exotic taste you just can't get enough of. Caribe Hard Cider is perfect for any occasion. Crafted with champagne yeast, it's an all-natural gluten-free blend that'll keep you coming back for more. Caribe Hard Cider, available in original, pineapple, and rosé.
Hello?
Hey, sweet, I'm at KFC and they got a new deal. Perfect pairs for only $15. And I don't know which pair to pick. Here are the deals.
$15 perfect pairs at KFC. Pick a pair of 3 pieces of chicken and 2 biscuits. $15. 5 wings barbecue all hot and a corn. $15. Or 2-piece chicken and 4 wings barbecue all hot. $15.
You got it.
Pick a pair at KFC and it's a steal offer deal for $15. Our $15 perfect pair only at KFC.
Isn't it lovely, lovely things indeed? Your small enterprise of choice for personalized cups, mugs, pillows, glasses, tote bags, corsages, and so much more. Weddings and birthday keepsakes. 245-8483. Visit our Facebook and Instagram pages. Lovely things, anything but the ordinary. All right, and we are back again, thanking our wonderful sponsors for making this show possible every Saturday. I saw one of our listening very often. Mary said she's present for her shift, her morning shift. Thank you very much. And I know some of you make elevate your choice to listen in the morning on a Saturday. Some of you, I know you're cleaning, you're cooking, you're prepping for your Saturday, or you're probably just waiting and then you get out to town. So thank you for making the choice. Some people, they come back in the evenings to listen on our Facebook page. So definitely thanking you so much for the support. Here it is, 2021 winding down, and you're with us. All right. Okay, so good morning, Noelis. How are you?
Good morning, Leandra, and good morning to your listeners as well. Good morning.
Yes, and of course, some people are saying that they're returning for the show. So thank you to our listeners. You left an impression, Noelis.
Well, it was fun. Last week Saturday was good,
Yes.
good fun while informing the public. And
Yes.
I was happy to be there then, and I'm happy to be here again today.
All right. And of course, I came armed with more questions because apparently some people enjoyed this show so much that they messaged me in advance for the week for today and told me that they want to ask a few questions. So last week, if you weren't listening last week, that was a big loss for you. But remember, you can still go back and look on the Kyrie FM's Facebook page. We're talking about relationships and property and the works, what happens. And I remember Noel's words that you don't prepare for a divorce, you prepare for marriage, but things happen. And you have to put things in place. And she also reminded us, do not wait for things to get bad to come and get assistance and advice, legal advice. I know some people say, oh, it's too expensive, but trust me, that lawyer's consultation might save you a whole lot more money.
Definitely.
In the end, yeah? But today we're going to look at wills. And Noelis, before we get into it, just introduce yourself. Some people are here for the first time listening on radio and on air, so just introduce yourselves to our guests.
Okay, well, my name is Noelis Knight Didier. I like to always say, first and foremost, I'm a wife and a mother, a mother of 3. And I am a practicing attorney at law. I've been practicing since 2003. I don't like to count years. If you ask me my age, I'll tell you the year I was born. So I've been practicing for quite a few years in Dominica, at my home in Dominica. And so I'm an attorney at law. I'm also a trained and certified mediator, trained and certified arbitrator as well.
Right, and that mediator and arbitrator is very important because she can assist you. Things are you sort of in a jam with probably friends, family, and you can have her help you.
Yeah, mediation and arbitration are good ways to sort out your contentious issues outside of the court system.
Yes,
cheaper. It is. Well, arbitration maybe not so, but mediation definitely is a cheaper, more conciliatory, more. A lot of people walk out of mediations being friends, and shaking hands and saying, okay, it's a win-win for both of us, and we've settled our differences.
Right. And of course, every day you look and you see Deaf and Announcements always reminding us, and every time we walk into a funeral, we always keep saying things in our minds, boy, I really should. Mm-hmm. And one of these shoulds is I need to put things in place, all right? And again, yesterday I went to a funeral of a very young child, and one of the things the priest said is that, you cannot wait till the end to say, I will change. You have to make things right today, and that's what is spiritual as well as all the other different things that you need to put in place, because death is very, very uncertain. You might just walk out of your house and that's it. So one of the things that we had started talking about is we're talking about wills. So, Noel, is for definition. We hear it a lot. We use it a lot.
Yes.
Define, how do we define legally
Yes,
a will?
If we recall, we spoke about wills last week because a will is a way of preparing for the unexpected.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen. You and your wife or your husband may get divorced, and you all have an opportunity to sit and work out things and thrash out things and go to court and ensure that you get what is rightfully yours, but sometimes it doesn't. You don't have that opportunity. Death comes and you're not prepared.
Right.
And your property is there in a state of flux, or it goes to somebody that you really
wouldn't have wanted, yes.
Oh, don't want it to go to at all.
And they'll say, boy, Mr. may be rolling in his grave.
Oh, if I had a penny for the number of times you hear
Yes,
that,
yes.
oh, mommy rolling in her grave to see
Yes,
us fighting that way.
yes.
And usually you have fights where there are wills, but it's more often than not where there is no will, and the parties are disappointed as to what they receive or what they don't receive, and there's fighting. And I mean, to be quite frank, our laws when it comes to death and what happens to your property on death where there's no will, it can be very complicated.
Okay.
Yes, it can be complicated. It can be unfair. It's very old.
I heard that last week, and it keeps haunting me that, boy, I may step into a situation, or people may step into a situation thinking that they're safe or they're protected, and then things happen, and
the family is very disappointed.
Yes.
Yeah, the person who is dead won't be disappointed. They're dead.
So am I to assume that we must wait for our lawmakers to change it, or are there people who can, I guess, maybe attorneys, legal officers who can, get the ball rolling? Is there?
Definitely, and it is not just lawyers or legal officers. I mean, in all parts of the world, when citizens want a law changed, they do petitions, they go on the radio. Any ordinary person, that's part of our civic duty.
Which is okay.
Indeed, if we want a law change, to speak up and say, I want this law change.
So I'm going to get the ball rolling with a question. One of the questions. Someone asked, can a will be challenged, and under what circumstances?
Okay, so basically, I think I didn't answer your very first question as to what is
a
a
will. So yes, let's define that first.
Yeah, so a will is essentially a document that it's in writing, something that is in writing, that somebody says how I want my property to be distributed to whoever it may be at my death. So you write it now, but its actual effective time is at your death. So when you die, this is when your will becomes effective, and it says who you want your property to go to.
Which means it can even change before.
It can change anytime.
Wow.
You can change your will. People come into my office sometimes to change their will once a year,
Interesting.
And yes, and it's advisable to change your will whenever you have a change in a life event. You get married, you have children. Think about changing your will as to what you would like it to say.
Or somebody leaves your life and enters your life, all those different things. So maybe you found a new friend, or you developed a new cause, so maybe you want to will something to the Dominica Cancer Society. Just saying random, there's something maybe, that
close to
your heart, they can go on your will too, and that can be changed any day. So remember that, everybody. So maybe your granny showed you a will from last year. Possibly she didn't tell you and could have changed that will in anytime.
Yes.
All right. So yes, our first question, Noel, is under what circumstances can a will be challenged?
Okay, so a will has to have certain formalities for it to be legal.
Okay.
Number one, it has to be witnessed by two people, two independent people, and those people have to be there together when the person doing the will signs the will.
Together.
Yes, and they both must sign the will as well, saying that they witnessed you signing your will.
And dated.
As well, definitely. So if you only have one witness or 0 witnesses, then your will can be challenged.
Oh.
Yes, your will not, it won't survive.
So I can sit down in my house and just say X, Y, Z,
no, and call it your will? No.
Okay, so that's
you
important.
could, but it won't survive.
It won't survive.
No, so it would be challenged, and it would be successfully challenged.
Okay.
And a will can also be challenged if you are not in your right mind at the time that you're doing your will. So if
drunk,
you wait too long, well, if the witnesses say you were drunk.
Yes.
No, not ill. You can be ill and write a will. You if you are not well mentally,
yes.
So if you wait for too long and you develop Alzheimer's, dementia, and at that point in time you write a will, it could be successfully challenged.
So somebody can say, well, at that time my mother was going through and I think she just couldn't remember, and somebody could actually win on that basis.
Somebody could challenge it. If you have enough proof, you have the evidence, usually you will have a doctor's report saying that the person was, not capable mentally at the time, then the will could be successfully challenged.
Okay, what other circumstances? Force?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if someone has a gun to your head, while you're writing your will, definitely it can be challenged. It's what we call undue influence in the law. So if somebody is really threatening you at that point, physically or otherwise, then your will could be challenged.
I have seen circumstances where, and not necessarily in a legal experience, but where an older woman was being brought to the bank by her children to make provisions, and I think they were doing it in, knowing that their mother was sick. But I think, they put the mother part aside and asked her questions privately, because I think they wanted to see if there was any pressure from.
Yeah, banks do that, yes, which is a good thing, that they do to make sure that the person is still okay.
Yes.
Mentally, that they're still okay to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's okay to assist. And I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to your mother or your father and saying, hey, daddy, mommy, have you made a will? No matter their age, or even if they're sick, have you done a will? Let's get you to a lawyer, or let's assist you to do your will. But the important thing is that the people that the person are leaving things to in the will should not be in that room while they're doing the will. They should not influence the person at all. So yes, help mommy and daddy to go do their will, bring them to a lawyer or whatever, but leave the room and let them do their thing privately.
Yeah, I can
they
imagine
have their
the amount of
independent
pressure.
witnesses
Yes.
and so on. Yes.
All right. So for the individuals listening, I hope your answer got so you should be off, right? Sound mind, that is important, all right? And definitely no undue pressure. All right. And of course, you must have witnesses. So these are the circumstances. If they are lacking, then you can contest that will. All right. Another one is if a will is done in sound mind and it omits inclusion of, let's say, a common law partner who has assisted with the home without legal ownership to the property, can they challenge the will if, say, they were asked to vacate the property?
They could try.
Wow.
They could try. I mean, this happens often. It is not a strange situation, and that question is such a very good question because it happens often. That I will use a man. A man has property. They enter into a common law relationship with a lady. The lady also contributes to that, to building a house, for instance. They have children together and so on. They live a life together. And whatever reason the relationship goes sour, the man makes a will and does not include that woman in the will. The property is in his name. So what happens? The woman it is possible for the woman to challenge not necessarily challenge the will. The will still be valid, but they can challenge the distribution of the property and say, look, that property is not his only.
Right.
That property is also mine. I have a share in that property. Now, it's going to be difficult to prove because the man is dead.
Dead man tell no tales.
That's it. How are you going to challenge somebody who is dead? They cannot stand up for themselves. They cannot defend themselves and say, no, what she's saying is not true. It's difficult. So, like I always say, sort out your business.
When you are living and breathing.
Definitely.
All right.
It's all the more difficult afterwards.
Answer provided.
Yeah. And let me just say as well. I mean, what I'm saying here on the radio is just general advice.
Yes.
Every situation is so different. It's so different and unique. So I mean, for every situation, sit with your lawyer, let them advise you. What I'm saying here is no substitute for going and sitting with your lawyer and getting your proper advice.
All right. And you have one right here giving you this advice. Please do not let it fall on deaf ears. This is really good advice. And as general as it may be, it's definitely worth considering.
Definitely.
Are there considerations to apply to business owners in terms of wills, or they just generally fall under the same categories of homeowners and so forth?
Well, when you have a business, you could either have your company, in which case you have shares in your company, or you may not have a company and you just have a trading as business. So it's just your own property. It's not really different. I mean, in your will, if you have a company, you will say you leave all your shares in this company for whoever, or 50% of your shares for whoever it is. If you just have a regular business, you can say you leave your business assets, or all the assets of your business to so and so.
Okay.
It's not really different. You just basically cater for it. You say who you would like to leave it to, and you do it. Like I said last week, a will is not an overly complicated thing. It doesn't have to be. It's something simple that you sit, and you write. You think of who you want to leave everything that you own to, and you go ahead and just write it out.
And I would also like to remind our listeners, if you would like to ask Noelis a question directly, or you are able to do so, all right? So we have our numbers 4487334, and if you're on the overseas line, 305-906-6186, okay? She's here to answer your questions, and she's really doing a fantastic job in helping us. Okay, so Noelis, I did my own little research as well. Types. I know there are maybe a million types of wills, and I came across the one called the deathbed will. If you don't mind.
Well, Leandra, you're sending me back to law school. Yeah.
Money well spent.
I would say that there are many, many types of wills. I mean, your will is your will, but the deathbed will is something that is interesting. Sometimes it happens that you have not had a chance to write your will, or you may have written your will, but on your deathbed, in contemplation of dying, you're thinking about your death, and you say, you know what, my house or my car, I want to leave it to so-and-so. And you take the keys for your car, and I say, Leandra, I always wanted you to have this car. If I die, my car is yours. And I hand over the key to the car. That's important, that you actually need to physically hand over the key to the car, or the key to the house, or the deeds to the house, the title to the house. Hand it over to the person that you want to have it to, that you want to leave it to, and that can actually succeed. Even if you have another will, or even if you have no will, that can actually succeed in transferring the property to that person.
But
it's called a deathbed will, and
but
it's very.
Can it be challenged?
Of course. And many times it is challenged successfully, because again, you have the issue of proof. Leandra goes and says, this is what I said to her, and I handed her the keys. Yes, you have the keys, but I could have just given you the keys to hold on to, for a second, not necessarily to give you my car. So, it comes down to proof, and having to prove that the deceased really told you those things. That's going to be very, very difficult. Again,
I think it might go back to the previous clause you mentioned about songmind. They might say at that time person was maybe a little cynical, going,
exactly.
they're getting lucid, they're really going out, so we don't know if they're having hallucinations and those sorts of things.
Or they might be having a lucid moment where it would be okay, but those things are very difficult to prove, and the better thing is to just do it while you are aware of everything, have all your senses around you, and can put everything in writing. You may not have a chance to go to your lawyer,
yes.
But at least try. Bring in 2 friends that you trust or something, and try and get it done. Put it in writing, let them sign it, and so on,
Are there any others that, common folk should know of, the other types, other than the deathbed, you can think of?
A will is a will.
Yes.
Leandra, if you do your will, even if you put it in writing, without going to a lawyer and having it typed up and so on, and you just sit and you write it, it's done. It's a will. There are others, but nothing that the ordinary person
should
needs
bother
to
about.
worry about. It's just get it done. Just write it. Go to your lawyer. Some people are intimidated by the whole concept of going to a lawyer and getting a will done.
I think people have such bad experiences, or they just think that it is really this, this
ominous,
extraordinary
yes.
situation to go. And I think when people hear, I'm going to a lawyer, they think it's something. And that's the thing, we've done it in bad situations.
Exactly.
So it has the same way for some people they hear the word doctor, and they just cannot handle themselves because they've always seen a doctor when things are at its worst. So they do not associate that doctors can also be present even when you're healthy, just to give you that,
that checkup,
yes,
to make sure things are going okay.
The same can be said of lawyers. Everyone have this is really, really horrible, or a lot of people have horrible perceptions of lawyers, and we should actually change that that
It's
yeah,
good to
that
go to your lawyer
narration.
ahead of time to prevent the problems, to prevent any issues that may arise in the future. I am, in my practice, I had seen so many times where people fall into so many issues again because of not having a will, and because they figure going to a lawyer is so expensive, and to draft a will is too much money, and sitting in a lawyer's office waiting. And myself and a few others, we came up with this I shouldn't say came up with it, it's not a novel idea, but we created a website for doing wills online. So right now, just as you can in any other developed country, in the UK, in the US, everywhere, you can do your will online. So too now in Dominica and the rest of the Commonwealth Caribbean, you can go online on www.caribbeanwills.com and do your will online.
I actually came across that when I was doing my research, that people are now getting into doing online.
Especially with the pandemic.
Right. Okay, so we're going to continue that conversation of the online wills and how they work. All right. And if there's anything special you have to do, we're going to take a word from our sponsors one more time for the morning, and we will be back. And again, do not hesitate to call, because definitely Mrs. Night Didier is here to answer your questions. Everything outside this, you have to pay her, okay? All right, but this should start a conversation among your family, all right, in terms of preparing your wills. Don't think that because you're just a child or a young adult that it's not time. It is time. We're getting ready. 2022, a lot of people are starting to make their resolutions. And one of your resolutions should be to create a will. All right. And let people know where it is. And of course, let it be witnessed and dated. All right. So you have to learn. All right. We will be right back with our conversation. Let's take a word from our sponsors.
Malcolm Stephen and Sons across the bridge is the headquarters, guaranteed for all your frozen meats, poultry, ham, turkey, fish in French every day, every week. From Monday morning to Saturday afternoon, Malcolm Stevens is the people's first choice for the ever-fresh quality, with the widest variety and assortment of all your fresh favorite frozen foods from across the Caribbean and across the world. Guaranteed freshness. Pat mouton, pat cabouit, mandi la cabouit. All the frozen chicken parts you could ever need. Legs, breast, well, yes, breast, chest, thighs, feet, gizzards. Malcolm Stevens' back and neck is not back and neck, is neck and back. Dominica alone gets the freshest and the best from Malcolm Stevens' Sons. Swinging sassans for their drumsticks there, and first serving it. Your beans, your peas, your salted and pickled meats, tout pat cochon. When you want a broth and a soup, you need to come to Malcolm Stevens and Sons. Nobody makes a better pillau or broth or soup than a Dominican. But the secret is that they buy all their tastiest, nutritious and satisfying frozen foods only at Malcolm Stevens and Sons in Portersville. Tell them I sent you. 448-8709 or 235-5521.
Pure crisp refreshment. Caribe Hard Cider. Yours to enjoy. With a delicate, exotic taste you just can't get enough of. Caribe Hard Cider is perfect for any occasion. Crafted with champagne yeast, it's an all-natural, gluten-free blend that'll keep you coming back for more. Caribe Hard Cider. Available in original, pineapple, and rosé.
Hello?
Hey, sweet, I'm at KFC and they got a new deal. Perfect pairs for only $15. And I don't know which pair to pick. Here are the deals.
$15 perfect pairs at KFC. Pick a pair of 3 pieces of chicken and 2 biscuits. $15. 5 wings barbecue all hot and a corn. $15. Or 2-piece chicken and 4 wings barbecue all hot. $15.
You got it.
Pick a pair at KFC and it's a steal of a deal for $15. Our $15 perfect pair only at KFC.
Are you looking for good eggs? I mean quality fresh eggs straight from the farm? Well, we have exactly what you're looking for, no matter the quantity. We've got the right amount. Visit us at Prince City downstairs Kyrie FM on Independence Street for your fresh farm eggs, or call telephone 448-7331, 448-7330 or 448-8752 and we'll get you your fresh farm eggs.
I'm not exaggerating, boiling with excitement.
Ooh, isn't it lovely, lovely things indeed. Your small enterprise of choice.
for personalized cups, mugs, pillows, glasses, tote bags, corsages, and so much more. Weddings and birthday keepsakes. 245-8483. Visit our Facebook and Instagram pages. Lovely things, anything but the ordinary. And we are back again. Thank you so much to Malcolm, Stephen and Sons. Saying good morning to Mr. Stephen, who listens every Saturday. I had a conversation with him a couple of weeks and I missed his birthday, so happy belated birthday nonetheless, Mr. Stephen. Thank you to Do It Center, KFC, HHV Church, the agent for the Caribbean. Lovely, my favorite, the Rosé. And of course, Lovely Things myself. And just to let you know, Lovely Things will be putting out our Christmas, what we call the Christmas Cado collection for Christmas from Thursday. So, of course, stay peeled to our Facebook page and our Instagram page. We are back. And we were just speaking of the questions on the thread. So we will look at some of those questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for contributing to our show by asking questions. So, Noel, is one of the questions someone asked is, what about if I have receipts to my contribution to a home that I may not necessarily be, legally on the title or the will, but what if I can show that I gave contribution and I deserve? So I bought how many steel and concrete, and I bought this and I bought that. What about that?
And I am assuming that question goes back to the very first question about the common law union.
Yes.
Where I haven't been included in the will. I'm nowhere on the title or anything, but I've contributed. And again, if you have your receipts, then that's proof. That is good proof. So it goes back to the question of, do you have proof? Do you have evidence that a part of this property is really yours, and
right.
it's not just the other person's own to give or to sell or to will
right
away.
Right.
And once you have sufficient proof, then you can challenge it and you can claim your stake in that property.
Have you seen any cases like that?
Yes, definitely.
Great.
Definitely.
We just want to know that it's happened.
It has.
And we have a little hope. Okay, I'm going to take a call. Hello, good morning.
Hi, a very interesting program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, in fact, I always say, if a person loves their family, they should always have a will to avoid any confusion.
Yes.
They're deaf.
Yes.
A will, I know you can, when you do your will, you can always change it. I think what they call a codicil or something. What I wanted her to confirm is whether the same person you had as your witness, when you change your will, if you are bound to have the same person to do that, to witness. Okay. And another thing is, I think in your will, is it true you should not have your spouse as a witness or something of that sort? Speak to that, but it's a very interesting program.
Thank you very much. Very, very good questions. Have a good Saturday.
Yes, you too.
Thank you. So you can take the first question.
Sure. Yeah, you can have any two witnesses, any other two witnesses. It does not have to be the same witnesses who witnessed your original will to witness the change to your will, whether you change it by drafting a whole new will or doing a codicil. Use the word codicil. There, codicil is basically something that amends your first will. Okay. So you bring the two together and that becomes your will. Many people don't bother about the codicil, they just draft a new will.
A fresh one.
Fresh one altogether. And it can be the same witnesses, it can be two different witnesses.
All right. That's important because sometimes probably the first set of witnesses have probably died or you're probably not in contact with them or you just are not friends anymore. So, yeah, that's important. Changing it might, again, do you much good. And I think he's asked
the spouse.
The spouse.
If you are leaving something to your spouse in your will, you should not have them witness it. Anyone who you're leaving something to should not be a witness to your will.
Right.
And what that does is it's not going to invalidate your will. Because once you have your two witnesses, no matter who they are, your will be valid. But what it will do is it will make the gift that you left to them in your will, it will become null and void. They won't get that gift. Because
she mentioned this last week, but if you're joining us this week, this is new knowledge to you. Do not put the people you are leaving things to in as witnesses.
That's right.
Don't use them. All right? So keep that in your mind. Someone asked, if a property is not registered, can it be willed? And if so, how successful can it be challenged?
Okay, so if whether your property is registered or not, you can will it. Definitely. A lot of people in Dominica, they are on property sorry, but it's not yet registered, meaning that they don't have a certificate of title for it as yet. It's not registered, and they're just on it, or it was handed down to them by their father or their grandmother or whatever, and they don't have their papers for it. You can still leave it in your will to someone. It may be challenged in the same way that if, for instance, you're now registering it, somebody might challenge your registration of it and say, no, that property is not yours, it's mine. That's the same way it can be registered. But it won't be challenged just because it's not registered. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Someone asked now, this is getting into the conversation of what we started off before we went on our break, which is the online wills. Tell us how that works, Noelis.
Oh, yes. So basically at CaribbeanWills.com, you can go on there. There's a Will Assist Wizard, which you go through. It asks you all of the questions that need to be asked. Basically, where is your property? Describe your property and who would you like to leave it to? And you put in the names, you put in the properties. You say if you want to leave a half share to this son and a half share to this daughter. You basically, it really guides you very nicely and very easily. And you just put in the information, answer the questions, and at the end pops out your will.
Does it
and
have
then
witnessing?
Yes, definitely. So it gives you your will online, and what you take that online will, what you do basically, you have to print it out. Our law is not so updated throughout the Caribbean where you can just do it online and sign online and no, you must print it out.
Some people have virtual signatures online. That
will not suffice. It will not suffice. You need to actually print it out, sign it in front of two witnesses as normal, and keep it in a safe place.
Okay.
Yes.
So those the person asking, I hope she satisfies your. Of course, feel free to jump on the website that she mentioned. Yes. Just mention it again.
It's www.caribbeanwills.com.
Yes, try it out. Go look at it. It might even be easier for Gen Z and Gen X. The younger people. And in the case, as she said, in the case of COVID, where you may not necessarily want to interact too much or move around too much, that might be good for you, all right? But here is an opportunity. The young people like to say, oh, all those things is what people think. No, here is something that meets you, all right? You can literally go on virtually, prepare it, print it, and witness it. We have another question. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I have a question.
Yes?
Now, for the will, the witnesses, right? The two witnesses, do they have to read the content of the will? Do they have to be informed of what is written on the will, or do they just have to sign the will? I'm listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good question. Your listeners have such good questions.
Yes.
So no, the answer is no.
Okay.
They do not have to know the content of your will. They don't have to read it. In fact, why should they read it at all? I mean, no.
No, but here am I. Why am I signing something that I don't know what's in here?
No, you don't know what's in it. All you need to know is that this is my will and I would like you to witness it. And they know that they are witnessing your will. That's it. But they do not need to read the content of it.
But if they're uncomfortable,
well, find somebody else.
Find somebody else, yes. I mean, I personally, I want to know what I'm signing up to, because I am afraid that I might
No, but there's no reason to be afraid. I mean, on that side of the coin, I could address that as well, that if you are asked to witness a will, there's no reason to be afraid that you do not know what they have written in there. Because all the only effect of you witnessing a will is just that you saw the person sign it, and you knew that they were signing their will, and that's all you will ever be called to answer.
That is a good question. I would have never thought of that question, so thank you very much for that question. I would have thought just the person signing it would have probably had an opportunity to peruse it, but not necessary. We had go ahead. I saw a caller. Please try again. Another question from online or a thread. So if he or she writes a will, why should someone want to fight it to fit their needs? It's already done. That was the person will on, that's their will on black and white. Well, I guess this is just saying that some people just feel that they were cheated maybe unfairly. I think that's why some people challenge wills. All right, we have another call. Hello, good morning.
Oh, yes.
Hello.
If the person wants to find out anything, all I can see is this is the last will and testament of Mr. ABC. That's all. But they cannot see the will because the will is supposed to be a confidential stuff.
Okay.
I just let them see this is the last will and testament of A, B, and C, and so on, and that's it, and we take it from there.
All right.
But generally, if I make a will and I change it, people never really ask to see it, and I don't let them see it anyway.
Interesting. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Yes.
All right. Someone asked, how long after a person dies should they, I guess the executor, the whoever, the
executor,
executor,
yes, that's it.
hand the final or hand the family the original copy of the will. For instance, if someone died 10 years ago and the beneficiary is unable to get the executor to hand over the original copy of the will, what can be done?
That's an odd thing, yes. I mean, if you're the executor of a will, so basically what the executor is, when you draft a will, when you write your will, you say, this is my last will and testament, dated whatever. I revoke all other wills that I've ever made before, and I appoint A, B person as my executor. Now, that executor is the person who's going to carry out all of your wishes under the will. You say you leave your property for John Brown and Jane Doe. The executor is going to make sure that John Brown and Jane Doe get that property.
Who fills that position? Can be anybody?
It can be anybody. It can be anybody who is above 18 and of sound mind.
Okay.
But you want to pick somebody who you trust. Who you trust is going to, and
Do
not
your-
only that you trust, but who you believe is going to do a good job as well. Because you may trust your son or your daughter, but you know that they are
careless,
they are
reckless.
Exactly, you know. So you want to
Yes.
pick somebody who you know is going to really do a good job, do it effectively, and who is trustworthy as well.
All right. So choose choose wisely.
Yes.
Someone and most of them, I think that's why some people just choose their lawyers to do that
Sometimes
job.
You can choose a
sometimes.
lawyer, but if you choose a lawyer, you would have to
Pay.
pay the
Haha.
lawyer. You would have to pay the
Okay.
lawyer. Is not going to do that for free.
Yes.
But
All
many
right.
people choose their husband, their wife, you know,
Yes.
or a son or daughter that they believe is. You can choose a family member that you trust. That's
Okay.
fine.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. If the executor dies before and the name was not changed, the executor, what happens?
Thank you. Good question again.
Yes. So your executor has died before you.
Ah.
And then when you have your will, the person that you've named as your executor is already deceased. What happens basically is that one of the other people, the people who you've left things to in the will, one of those persons can actually apply to be it won't be an executor anymore. It will be called an administrator.
Okay.
But they do the same job as the executor, basically.
Okay.
So
So
one of the people that you leave something to in the will can step in.
Hopefully, they are trustworthy and disciplined to do the best to do that. All right. Thank you.
And the executor or the administrator, generally you need to act quickly. So that's a strange thing that the caller before said, that they would not have shown the beneficiaries the original copy of the will. That's very strange, because once the executor, the will is read and so on, the executor needs to get on with their job right away.
Yes.
They probate the will. By probate, I mean that they actually register it.
Okay, so
you
what
know,
actually asked this,
about
just coming
probate.
to ask this about how important it is to get a will probated.
Yes, you must probate the will. Probating a will simply means proving it.
Yes.
Yeah, you see, the time is passing so quickly, but we cannot, pack textbooks of
Trust me,
information.
it's going well, and part 2, this is it, part 2, so we're going to soak in part 2. But don't
So
worry.
once you probate the will, you need to get on with it and start distributing the estate as soon as possible. The beneficiaries are all entitled to have a copy of the will. In fact, the will becomes a public document once it's probated anyway. So it's in the registry there. Anybody can
Really?
go. Yeah, anybody can go and get a copy of it.
So
at
you
the
straight off
registry.
go to and it can be probated obviously before you die?
No.
No, it's after.
Yeah, so like I said at the beginning, your will only takes effect after
After you
are-
die.
After you
Okay,
So that's why you
okay.
can change your will up to the last minute, So after you die, the executor takes that will, he probates it, and he says to the court or to the registrar, look, this is a proper will, it's witnessed by 2 people, it's dated, and it's a fine will, it's good. And the registry puts its stamp on it and says this will is probated.
Right, and then you can
and then
go
you
ahead.
Start your business.
But
yes.
please do not wait for that. I'm still behind that deathbed. Do not wait till that time, because it is
It can be a problem.
It can be challenged. Do you need a lawyer to have a will probated?
Not absolutely, but you should. You should definitely go to a lawyer so the lawyer will tell you, yes, this is a proper will. Let's go ahead and get it probated. In small estates where the estate is not valued at very much, you can just go to the registry and they will do it for you. you know. But generally, you should go to a lawyer, so the lawyer will advise you as to whether the will is a proper one or not, and they will probate it for you.
Question.
And advise you as well as to the next steps and so on.
I have a question where you have joint ownership of land, so probably you have a number of siblings having. So let's say the parents died and left their land to their children. What will happen in the event one of the children dies without necessarily leaving? So it's like parent die and one of the children die and their land, nothing has happened to it. What will happen outside of a will?
The sibling dies outside of a will.
So right.
So there's no will.
So in other words, the parents left. No, there's a will, but the parents left the will to their children.
Oh, they left the property to the children.
Right.
In the will.
Joint ownership of land. But one of their children or one of the siblings dies. What happens to their property?
After the parents.
After the parents.
After the parent. Well, that property basically, and the sibling doesn't have a will.
No.
Well, that property, their share of the property will go to their heirs. No, not to the other siblings. It will go to their heirs, because you're entitled to it. That's your share.
Well, if they don't, well, that's it. If that person doesn't have any other person to pass it on
to. Yes. If they have no other person to pass it on to, then yes, it will go to the other siblings. Yes.
Okay.
But again, you see, Leandra, again, that depends on how the parents left the property to the children. If they left the property to the children in equal shares, what we call tenants in common, yes, it will go to the heirs of the dead child. Okay. But if they left it to the property to the children jointly, in that all the 5 children need to hold this property like one person.
Yes.
When one dies, yes, the property will go to the other siblings,
all right,
brothers and sisters.
Hello, good morning.
Oh yes, Miss Knight, can you speak to joint tenant and tenant in common?
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Just because that's can be very tedious where you have.
It can be ticklish, yes. So it's a phrase that people hear often but don't necessarily understand. Joint tenancy basically is when 2 or more people own property together, right? And they own it like they are one person. So on the death of one, the property reverts to the other co-owner. It doesn't go to the heirs of the dead person. It doesn't go to the dead person's children or anything else. It goes to the other person fully. But with tenants in common, it's like each of you have your piece. So if 3 people own a piece of property as tenants in common, it means each of them own, I have my third share, you have your third share, you have your third share. Not necessarily divided on the ground, you know. But,
yes, we understand.
So if I die, then my third share goes to my children or whoever I want to will it to. You know, my share goes to my heirs.
Someone asked, how soon after one's death should a will be read?
Well,
let the person get a little cold, please, because it will seem as if is that you're waiting for that.
Some people choose on the night of the funeral, they open the will.
Sorry.
That's really a discretionary thing. There's nothing in the law that says by when you have to read
so
it,
at the happy hour, you can start if you please. But I mean ethically and
morally,
you can make the person emotionally, please, because you can just really thrash in a little bit more emotions.
But I mean, it's good to read it as soon as possible, because sometimes the person might have made provisions in there that
for certain things.
That need to be done quickly.
And probably in your will, at least you can outline that within a month or so, those sorts of things, because some things probably are time sensitive.
Right.
So, but use your discretion.
I think so.
All right, we have a caller. We are literally in our last 5 minutes. Hello.
Yes, another question.
Yes.
If there's a mortgage on the property, and there's a will, does that mortgage die and the person, the owner of the property dies? Does that mortgage also die, or the expenses goes to the person who is named on the will? You get it? Thank you.
Good question.
Oh, that would be nice if our debts died with us.
I wish.
That would be so nice.
But I think, we are planning to bring in some financial, someone from one of the financial institutions to talk about certain things like that, because, we're preparing for a proper year next year. So this sort of discussion is important. But yes, what happens?
And I know a lot of mortgage providers, a lot of banks, they ensure that you take life insurance.
Yes.
Right, when you have a mortgage. So on your death, hopefully the life insurance will kick in and pay off the mortgage so that the person you leave the property to will get it free and clear once the mortgage is paid off. But if the life insurance has lapsed or there is
it's
none,
yours now.
Yes.
Yes. So you wanted the house, you're in the will, you have to take everything that goes with the house, which includes its payment.
The buyer, the estate has to pay off that debt. They have to pay off the mortgage, and then you can get the property.
And in last week's, in part one of our callers mentioned the importance of life insurance, and
Right.
who is on which beneficiaries are on that insurance. That is important because that could affect your will and those sorts of things, your land and your mortgage and so forth. How does one access the information on the will after it's probated?
Yeah, well, once the will is probated, like I said, it's
public knowledge.
In the registry, it's public, it's there. But the executor will have his copy.
Okay.
So with his will is going to be stamped nicely, and he's going to get a beautiful little document with the red seal of the registry on it, saying that he is now the personal representative of the deceased person. It's like he or she steps in the shoes of the deceased person. So they will have their copy on them all the time, and if it's needed for whatever reason, they are able to show it,
In the event that someone just, or is it wise to just give away everything before you die? I mean, not that any people are planning their death, but...
Well, all of that comes with estate planning. You have to really sit and look at it and see what is going to be most cost efficient for you. When you die, you can get away with basically just paying your probate fees, and you pay for your title fees, which might just be 2% for your probate fees, 2% for your title fees, and the person you leave the property to gets their property. Whereas if you transfer it while you're alive, you're paying the full transfer fees.
Okay.
I made sure I knew the transfer fees this
yes.
week. Last week, because they changed they had reduced the transfer fees, and I think it's 6.5% now.
Okay.
So you'll be paying that amount while you're alive.
Okay, I understand.
Whereas if the property is transferred after you're deceased and through your will,
cheaper.
It may be cheaper. It may be cheaper.
So
so you have to sit and look at it and really balance it.
Preparation. We cannot stress this enough, and I would really like people to contemplate. This show is not just it's nice information. Like literally, let's use it to our advantage. I know some people are now building their wealth, but it doesn't mean even if it's not 10 million or whatever, you think that it's not, sufficient to have a will. Anything can go into a will. It can be a bicycle, doesn't matter.
Most definitely. I say to people all the time, I mean, your car, your scooter, your PlayStation, anything.
Yes.
And those things are special to people. It can be your wardrobe.
Yes,
when I say your wardrobe, I mean your clothes. Some people are so into their clothes and they love their clothes. Anything, your special pair of gold earrings that your mother left to you, that's what you have. You want somebody special to have it too. You don't want to just leave it to whoever.
And probably you want to be buried in something.
All of that.
And all that should be stated, because what you don't want, well, I mean, not that, and people say, but the dead, they can't, but this is the person's final wish, and it's their property. They invested in it, and if they said they would like to go down with all their gold, put it in, and secure it. No, we have to have that. We had a conversation, but it would be good to talk to, the people who work in the funeral homes to decide what can and cannot go with the person. That's another discussion, but this, you can document this, that I want, don't give anything or burn it. If they say burn it, you have to burn it. That's their will, that's their intention.
Exactly. So, I mean, anything at all, you never think that you don't have enough property to do a will or whatever. You've worked hard for things, whatever it is that you have, you've worked hard for it. It's yours, it's your legacy. Protect it and protect your loved ones, protect your friends, and prepare for it. Do a will, draft your will, plan for that time.
We are going to take our final call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, so I have $500,000 and I say put it in my coffin when I die.
We can put a check.
We put a check.
We can probably do a check, but I don't know who's doing the cashing. But yes, whatever you want or whatever you desire, it is your will. This is what you want, and nobody can tell you what to do with your money. you will probably have to specify and probably do it yourself and go and withdraw that $500,000 and put it there and tell somebody who is trustworthy to put it in for you. All right? But we want to say thank you very much. We are literally, and I don't know, the time goes by when we're having fun and we're really just enjoying what we're talking about. Any last words?
Prepare.
Prepare. All right. Thank you so much to all those who called and gave questions. And Noelise is here. She lives here. She works here. She can be, you can contact her and definitely use her and so many other legal officers, yes, and lawyers. It's not just her, but she's at your disposal. You know, call her and put some of the things that you heard into practice that we have to prepare. All right, everybody, again, final. This is it for Elevate today. We really do hope that you had a good show and you enjoyed. And we will hope God give us life that we can see another Saturday. Have a great weekend, everybody. And as usual, I say stay safe, all right? Stay safe on the roads and stay safe. We know we are still in our pandemic, doing our best, all right? God bless everybody and have a very good day.